Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Southern Scrap Nation's podcast. Your host, as always, Daniel Jonas. Welcome, everyone. I'm back. Today is June 25th, 2024. It's 10:40 in the morning, and we're getting into it. It's International Fight Week, so today we'll be going over UFC 303, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka. This is a way better fight than what was scheduled. Originally, that was scheduled was Conor McGregor's return against Michael Chandler. It was like a 2-year layoff. Arguably not as good of a fight as this one, because light heavyweight hasn't really had a consistent champion since Jon Jones, and now we've at least got one that's defended his belt. So we're moving on in the world. Also, the first fight was great, and there's a lot that both fighters had success, so it's cool to see this one get redone, especially Jiri coming off of that awesome win against Rakic. Yeah. Anyway, it'll be awesome, and we're going to get into that. But first, before we get into that, remember to drop a like, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. You can also find it on Apple, Spotify, Google Play. If you're into the Audible aspect, but you can see this lovely face. If you would like, online. I also do like circular stuff with the mouse, so that's cool. Other than that, we're here opening up a gym location for group classes. So if you're in the Charlotte area, please hit me up. We got the fight team. We've got kids classes. We're going to have adult classes, beginner, advanced for Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and then we'll have some MMA for the general public. We'll see. I don't want just beginners going right into that stuff. So let me see first how things progress. Maybe get some people with some experience, and then from there, we move on and help grow this fight team. It'll be off South Boulevard, Pineville area. If you're in the Charlotte area, you know. And then on the website, I will now have the address. So for those that have been looking for an address for the gym, well, now we'll have one. Other than that, let's get into it. Before we do, obviously, let's check out this website. Yes. There we go. Southern Scrap Nation, Charlotte, but then we'll have like the address there. We got 1-on-1 instruction. Probably change that to group classes and all that kind of stuff, and just everything that you need on that front page. Yep. And so make sure to come check it out. Self-discipline, self-awareness, and then you'll get that quality training. Build all that and build that self-confidence. These are all things that you can do on your own, but with a team, even better. All right, so let's get into the fight card. Look at this. We're going to start with a bantamweight matchup with Ricky Simón versus Vinicius Oliveira. Ricky Simón starting off the early prelims. This is a great card. I mean, we're starting with Ricky Simón. I don't know if he's ranked bantamweight, but he's coming off of a loss to who was it? Oh wait, he lost to Batista. It's not even Song Yadong was who I was thinking. So he's lost 2 fights. He's probably lost his ranking because of that. But high level wrestler, high level submission artist. You're talking about a guy that submitted Merab in like the last second. We'll see. I think he won that. I think he got the win for that fight. Yeah, he got the win. He essentially TKO'd Merab with like 3 seconds left. And then you have Vinicius Oliveira, who, 16 wins by knockout, 14 first-round finishes, 2 submissions, third round knockout. So he's more than just a fast starter. He's clearly a striker. Oh, this is a guy with the super cool flying knee. If you'd like to see that. Let's see. Boom. Watch this. Boom. Nice little kick to the check hook. I love this combination right here. It's not really even like a long combination. It's just if it's well placed. One, it brings your balance back and your weight back. So you're looking at a guy who clearly knows what he's doing. He goes for the low kick, and throwing that left hook brings that weight back after committing to that kick. And now you got him compromised. And the fight IQ to just be able to find that you're looking at a high-level finisher. I'll probably go with Vinicius Oliveira, even though he is the underdog. Looking at the momentum of the guy, he's going up. Ricky Simón, unless he just takes him down and submits him, or like holds him down for the whole fight, which I don't know if I see that happening, because you have to get there, and this guy seems like he understands range management, and he's not going to just like let Ricky Simón take him down. But Ricky is coming off of 2 losses, and I don't think he's one of those guys to have more than 2 losses in a row. I think Font beat him. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really give him the... But either way. So I'll go with Vinicius. I'm going to hop on that bandwagon. Why not? He's a high-flying finisher, so I'll take it. Then you've got Ray Suria versus Carlos Hernandez. See, I can pronounce one of them, but the other one's a little hard. Ray's coming from the road to the UFC 2. I don't know. I don't think he won this. Yeah, you don't get any of his. I don't think he won it. Otherwise, it would be up there. 4 wins by knockout, 4 wins by submission. What's his? Okay, maybe he actually did win because he's undefeated. But I don't know if it counts on his professional record. Let me do some research on this one. Let me do some research. Ray Suria. Actually, I think he did win. I think he beat... Good ground game. Oh, he's got pretty good wrestling. Another Tatsudo in the mix. Tatsudo-like person in the mix. Speaking of, I mean, that Tatsudo is so good. All right. He's in the red. Yeah, that's single leg is what I'm talking about right there. He's probably got a judo background. High flying. Grappling. Yep. Does he get a scarfold submission? Wow, holy crap. This guy's good. Yeah, he's a high-level grappler. Cool, good for him. Yeah, I'll go with him. It's just the dip. Yeah, this poor guy. His last loss was to Taira, so this dude's getting 2 high-level grapplers from Japan in a row. Let's keep that train rolling. I think that's what happens. I think another loss to a high-level Japanese wrestler is in his future. Poor Carlos Hernandez. And then we move on to Andrei Arlovski versus Martin Buday. Martin Buday, heavy hands. Andrei Arlovski, though, showing that unless you are him at heavyweight, I guess not even him, but just like okay, wow, never mind. He's on a... He's in a 3-fight losing streak. Oh, I think it's because this fight was like boring. You know what? In my mind, and not to take away from, what's his name, Acosta. Acosta had a lackluster performance in his last fight. He Arlovski'd the big tall this Spain guy, the Taekwondo guy who's like 7 feet tall. He Andre Arlovski'd him to a decision. It was very boring for what it was, but it showed that you can't just be a one-trick pony as far as like being tall or being explosive and then being a Taekwondo fighter. Like you do need grappling. You do need boxing. Like these are things that you do need. It's not that world anymore where there's no internet. Like you can't just, it's not like you can't develop a game plan for people. But Andre Arlovski, my thought at first was, man, it's going to be hard to beat Andre. Like, you see it. Vandera, Collier, Felipe. Like these guys he's beaten. And these guys, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they ain't fighting for the title. So when I see a guy who gets up against Andre Arlovski, I go, how likely are they to fight for a title? And beating him is my way of measuring that. However, he lost to De Lima, and then you're like, oh, maybe De Lima is that caliber. Gets flying kneed in like the first round by Derek Lewis, like fast. But see, as you can see, and obviously MMA math isn't the best thing, but De Lima's beaten Acosta. So if you get where I'm going, he lost to Don'Tale Mayes. Is this the moment where Andre Arlovski does show his age? And maybe this is the end of the train for Arlovski. Whereas before, if you weren't the top 10 caliber person, he was going to veteran his way to a win. Get a decision, not the prettiest way, not the most exciting way, especially at heavyweight, but he gets that win. And I think a guy like Martin Buday has the confidence on his side where I think he can, I think he, I think this was this a main event? No, then he fought Rosenstrike in a main event, the guy that beat Buday. And I think Buday hits hard enough that if he connects with Andre Arlovski might call it a day. Just so you can... So, no, that's the... So... And Buday's got pretty good strike. I mean, pretty good boxing. He throws volume. I think he crashes distance on Arlovski and just kind of goes power for power with him. It'll be a good test for Buday, but I don't think it's one of those Andre Arlovski tests anymore. I think the odds make sense of that. Then you have Jillian Robertson versus Michelle Waterson Gomez. Jillian is such a good grappler that once she gets Michelle to the ground, Michelle's not getting up. Michelle is an atom weight. She's not a straw weight. So her kryptonite has always been larger girls that once they impose their size on her, it's like a one-way beating. And so that's why with Jillian, I feel as though she's going to impose her size. She's going to take Michelle to the ground. And once again, being older, fast twitch muscle, all these things are the first to go. Being fast and using your karate technique, it's great, but not the same Michelle Waterson as Invicta Michelle Waterson, or even before that. Once again, she's not a straw weight, she's an atom weight. So once Jillian uses her grappling, gets her to the ground, I think she submits Michelle Waterson. This is probably the easiest pick for me to do in this whole card. Then you have Peyton Talbot versus Yanis Gamori. Big fan of Peyton Talbot. Go check out his YouTube. Go give that man a subscription, or go subscribe to that man's YouTube. Entertaining guy. Understands the game. He's a very big risk taker. He's a risk taking guy. He gets hit a lot. I don't like the comparisons to Sean O'Malley because I think that is very weird. To just be like, oh, here's a bantamweight that throws cool stuff, and shows a personality. I don't think that's it. I mean, they're two different fighters. I think, but this guy understands the game. He watches film. The risk-taking aspect's big. For people that don't realize, he's a guy that snowboards, skateboards, rock climb. Like, he's an adrenaline junkie. So that on top of fighting gives him an adrenaline rush, but it's not something that he's got nerves for. Something he enjoys doing. So when he gets in there, he can be free. And when he's in there and he's free, he might take a couple shots. He might get... I watched one fight of his where a guy just like grappled him in the first round, and then the second round he came out, put that pressure. He pressure fights. He goes forward. Something that I can only praise in MMA is someone who understands that MMA is an offensive sport. So when you go forward, you make the other person bad. When they go back, everyone is worse going backwards fighting. I don't care how good of a counter striker you are. I don't care, but this person knocks people out going backwards. I don't care. Imagine if they went forward and they put that other person on the back foot. They'd be a 10 times better fighter. Go forward. Trust your defense. Peyton Talbot trusts his chin a little bit, but he does pick up reads, and he does eventually capitalize on those reads. He likes to get that finish. He likes, making the fans happy. What he did to Simon... Simon's great, but he messed him up. And the read he had on that knee was crazy. Giannis, I think they're feeding Peyton Talbot this guy. I'll look up Gamort as far as what his abilities are. He fought in Brave. Peyton Talbot fought, and I've already looked up his. So Peyton Talbot was the A1 champion. That's Uriah Faber's championship or champion or fight promotion. So it's not like it's. But this guy goes backwards. Giannis goes backwards. That's all I can say from him. He's going to probably try to grapple. But look, if you pressure him, he goes backwards. These are all highlights. But I watched that dude just back him up. And he's got good striking. But I think it's the. See how this guy. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. That's actually a better example. Look. Oh, wait, was that him? No, that one. I think Peyton will make him go backwards. That'll be the difference. His striking's not as clean. He's fine on the ground or whatever. But I think it's just the plus 900 is kind of crazy. Gomes beat him, KO'd him. Yeah, it's 2 loss. Peyton Talbot's just different. It's a hype train I'm on. I'm on the Peyton Talbot hype train. Then we have Charles Jourdain versus Jean Silva. I love Charles Jourdain, man. Follow his Instagram. Remember, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Thanks to Charles, I know this. Jean Silva, part of the Fighting Nerds. So he's part of the Cal Baralho team. He's wild, man. He's a wild man. He knocked out Wilson. It's not much to say from that. But 12-2. This is actually a pretty hard fight for me to judge. Because John Silva, as much as he's crazy, he's not as technical as Charles Jourdain. Now, Charles Jourdain has had trouble with guys of this similar ilk, right? Um, Actually, he's not really fought anyone like that. Maybe it was just a Woodson fight that I remember. Um, I mean, I'll go with Charles Jourdain on a decision win. Um, unless John Silva crashes distance and doesn't give Charles any room to breathe. But I think Charles is technical and more precise than John. So I think you're going to see a little bit more of that. Oh, this guy is technically better than John Silva and can keep him at range. Because size-wise, they're height-wise, 5'9", 5'7". So I'm not a huge fan of the record, 15-7, but Charles Jourdain's been fighting at a high level for a while. I'm just a huge fan. That's my bias, and that's my bias. But that being said, still a favorite, so it's nothing I'm not picking. Or nothing that's not already picked for me. Cub Swanson versus Andre Fili. Andre Fili on a win or on a is the favorite of this fight. I think his last fight was okay, so he lost. It's weird because they're essentially Cubs maybe a little bit older, or not a little bit, but he's older in this aspect of fought in the WEC. But both these guys fought before sponsored shorts. So just to give you an idea, these guys have both fought at a high level for a long time. His last fight was against Hakeem Dawodu, and he won. Then Martinez KO'd him, I'm pretty sure with leg kicks or something. And then he lost to Elkins. Then he won against Elkins, lost to Jikadze, won against Pineda, won against So this is kind of a classic matchup in my opinion. None of these guys are going really anywhere as far as back to the title or anything. Andre Fili's fun. He loves big booty Latinas. Lost one, win one, lost one, win, lost one. Lost one. I think he won this one. Lost one. See, it's got a pattern. He lost it, so maybe put your money on Fili. I would, just off the age. If you're going off of both experienced, both are both are well-rounded. Andre's got good wrestling defense, got good wrestling. Cubs, same thing. And we both know that their striking is their A game. So I think if we know anything about two strikers going at each other, the wrestling will take precedent. And I think Andre Fili is just a better wrestler and grappler than Cub Swanson. So I'm going to go Andre Fili. Just experience, but one's younger than the other one. Go with the younger guy with equal amount of experience. Then you have Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Here's an upset that could happen. It wouldn't surprise me, but I think Joe Pyfer is on that redemption train where he went against Jack Hermanson, lost pretty decisively to Jack Hermanson. It was pretty bad as far as seeing like what he was doing to people, and then Jack Hermanson just wrestling him, and then that just killed all the hype and momentum of the fight or of his train. And Marc Barriault, he's another guy he's tough, but tough doesn't win fights. It may help you weather the storm, but when I see like a Hernandez beating him, I think Marquez beat Barriault. I'm pretty sure. See, they're not telling me. Can I see what's the recap? Barriault won. It's a question of, I guess, who hits harder in this fight. I don't see Barrial trying to take him down. I think Barrial does have submission. One win by submission. Okay. Yeah, I don't really see this going to the ground. I see it as who hits harder. And Joe Pyfer has that belief, and his size is definitely going to give him an advantage. I mean, he's a big dude. 6'2", walks around 200, 75-inch reach. Just, you're thinking that the idea is that loss put a fire under him, and now he's like all steam ahead. I'm working on everything that I possibly could, and I'm better. And that's kind of what you're looking for in this fight. I'm going to go with Joe Pyfer on this just because I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to be better, whereas Mark Barrial is kind of the same guy, even after losses and stuff. So there's a chance. There's a chance that Joe Pyfer not PTSD is not the right word, but like there's a chance that the loss did more harm than good. But I have the belief that this guy's gotten better since that fight and left no stones unturned, metaphor, simile, whatever you want to say, as far as a guy that is going to get better in his next fight rather than diminish. So I'm going to go with the odds on that one. Then you have Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Page, MVP. This isn't a bad fight by any means. I think it's fun in the sense of, and now we're getting to the main event. Remember, like and subscribe to the podcast, please. Here, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I appreciate everything and everything y'all do. Thank you for tuning in, and hope to see you on the mat soon. All right, back to it. So, Ian Machado Gary, obviously one of the only undefeated, one of a few undefeated fighters in the UFC. He wanted to fight Colby Covington because easy fight for him. He got Michael Venom Page. If I'm Ian Gary, and you're spending all this time with Charles Oliveira and their team at Shuto Box, I'm taking Michael Venom Page down. I'm taking him down and I'm submitting him. I'm not even going to play the game. The problem is I don't really see that happening, and I'm not as biased towards Ian Gary. Not a big fan of him. But if someone's going to catch him, it's a high-level striker like Michael Venom Page. If Ian Gary can't implement MMA. And what I mean by that is Dricus du Plessis is the best example. The guy will strike, he'll strike, and if he feels like at all it's not going his way, he'll take you down. Which is what you're supposed to do. Because it's MMA. Make it dirty. I don't see Ian Gary as that guy. I don't see him as a guy that's like, when the tough gets going, I'm going to switch it up in the moment. I see him more as a guy that's like, I'm going to knock him out because I feel like I can knock him out. I'm going to go for the finish. Michael Venom Page is a guy where it's like there's not even a point in trying to play that game. Kevin Holland tried to play that game, and Kevin Holland has a way better grappling than Michael Venom Page. He didn't use it at all. And Gary's susceptible to a left hook. There's these different things that when I see it, I'm not 100% sure that Ian Gary will win this fight, even though he should win this fight. He's younger. He's got way more experience in the UFC. Michael Venom Page is older. His style definitely diminishes with age. But where you can start to see it diminish is if you add the grappling. If you wrestle him and bring all that lactic acid to those muscles, he will slow down. It's not about like trying to do the Douglas Lima, kick him, and then hope to catch him as you kick his leg. Like, that's timing, that's eyes, it's high level in the moment reaction. Do what, become an Irish Khabib just for this fight. You don't have to stand and strike. So if you see that, then props to Ian Gary for being able to adapt and use fight IQ. But if you don't, that's on him. Michael Venom Page is just like not that guy to mess with on the feet. So I'm gonna go with Michael Venom Page because I just don't see Ian Gary changing his ways. But if he's smart, he will. I mean, let's see how many submissions he has. He's got one submission. One. And then everyone else, he does this decision. He KO'd Rodriguez because Rodriguez had no kicking experience. Decision. This one was close. Decision, or was it that one? Or was it the other one? No, yeah. All right. Decision. Like, he stays in there striking too long for my liking against a guy like Michael Venom Page. You're taking a chance. 7 versus 14. You're taking a chance. All right, then you have Myro Buena Silva versus Macy Chasson. This isn't for... Yeah, this is just a thing. Myro Buena Silva's last loss was to Raquel Pennington. Embarrassing. She's a ball of fire. Second round win. Second first. Third round decision. Ferro. Wow, bantamweight. Beat her up. Better striker. I'm gonna go with Bueno Silva, Myra Buena Silva, just because Macy Chasson is she's getting back into it. Like she's showing her last fight. Like she lost bad to Aldana. Or she didn't lose bad to Aldana. She was doing well, and then Aldana hit her with that up kick to the gut. But I think physically, Bueno Silva was going to be a little bit too much for her. And Bueno Silva was like right. I mean, she lost to Raquel Pennington for making bad tactical fight mistakes. Don't even want to get into all this. But yeah, I just see maybe Bueno Silva submitting her. It makes sense that she's the favorite. She's strong. She's a beast. There's just nothing about Macy Chasson that I see that she brings to the table that I go, oh, yeah, she got this. I mean, she's 5'11", size or height, but I think Silva closes distance and then just takes her down. Then you have what was supposed to be the co-main event in Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg, which was supposed to be Ulberg versus which was supposed to be Ulberg versus Hill. And then it was supposed to be... Who was it supposed to be? Roundtree versus Hill. So now we got this whole different fight. Now this is not even this is like a totally different fight. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith coming off of that like gatekeeping win against a guy that should have beaten him, but put his head into a guillotine. It's like amateur mistakes, and a pro capitalized on it. You know, leave it to him. But Roman Dolidze is also coming off of a loss to Marvin Vettori. No, Imamov, who just okay, and he's also coming off of a loss to Marvin Vettori. What I see here with the Roman Dolidze fight is Roman Dolidze is very powerful, but his strength is in the grappling, which is kind of what Anthony Smith's strength is in like capitalizing on someone making a mistake in the grappling. Roman Dolidze is very strong and the grappling, but I could see him making a mistake and falling into a submission from Anthony Smith. Striking wise, I don't even really see an area where Roman Dolidze might beat him in striking, maybe just based off of power, but Anthony Smith can take a hit. It's not like it's going to flatline him. I'm going to say Anthony Smith because at least he was getting ready for the fight. Talk about a toss-up on decisions. I'm going to go Anthony Smith. I'm going to go on Anthony Smith, and then by veteran move, by just maybe capitalizing on Roman not having a full fight camp, wearing out his gas tank, and then using that to either submit him or TKO. So I'm going to go Anthony Smith. Then we get into the co-main event, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Brian Ortega coming off of a hard-fought win against Yair Rodriguez. Yair hurt him in the first round. He hurt himself jumping up and down, rolling his ankle. And then you have Diego Lopez that's just been on a fucking roll. This dude comes in, loses to Mosar Evloev off short notice. And I mean, gave him a fight. I mean, it wasn't easy for Mosar. And the way he wins is kind of, yeah. But Diego Lopez then went on to knock out Sabatini, he went on to submit Gavin Tucker with a brutal armbar triangle. He went on to knock out Sabatini and then knock out Yusuf. I mean, this guy's got dynamite in his hands. I think that's what happens. I think he knocks out Brian Ortega. I think he just knocks out Brian Ortega. I don't know how. And I know Brian's got a fucking chin on him, but I think it's one of those where this guy's, doesn't matter if he's got a chin, because Brian Ortega, even though he's got great submission, Diego Lopez is also got amazing submission. But the key difference is they're both grapplers. So when it comes to a striking battle, Brian Ortega doesn't have the one-punch knockout power or the boxing credentials, and people just think he's got knockout power. Diego Lopez has very good boxing. His coach, Alexa Grasso's dad, that whole team in Mexico, their hands are phenomenal. And I know Alexa doesn't really get that much of credit on it, but when you watch her box and her understanding of boxing, especially Irene Aldana, I mean, that team's boxing is phenomenal. And you're seeing it with Diego Lopez. And I think Diego Lopez just beats the brakes off of Brian Ortega. I think it's like a first-round finish. So that's the way I look at it. Brian Ortega, the adversity he had to go against Yair Rodriguez is like, you're looking at the old generation of featherweights, and they're having trouble with each other. Right? They're having trouble with the skill of the old crop of featherweights, guys that have fought without Reebok and without Venom, their own sponsors on the short time. Diego Lopez is the new crop. If you're having trouble with the old crop, like, just move aside Brian Ortega. Let Diego Lopez take number 3 because that's where he belongs, just like Mosar belongs in top 5. Like, there's just a new crop of featherweights, and all the old guys need to get out of the way. Max Holloway obviously saved his career in the sense, and Brian was looking to go up to lightweight after this or before this, so Holloway saved his, not saved it, but like he like extended his career by knocking out Justin Gaethje when no one else thought he was going to in like the last second, and beating him. But that was lightweight once again, and it's just featherweight guys are just, we're on to the next generation, right? If I could look at featherweight, I wish I could look at featherweight. Let's go to rankings real quick. Featherweight. So you have Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez. And then you have guys like Leon Murphy, Diego Lopez. I mean, I guess that was remains around, but Josh Emmett's going, like you see, he's going at Arnold Allen. All these guys, they're they're climbing up the ranks and slowly taking the place of these guys, right? Mo Sarv is number 5, so there you go. Like Arnold Allen versus Yair, boom, take that away. And then Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, they're there, but for how much longer? And then you obviously the champ, Ilia Topuria. And I know people don't like Ilia because he's going to fight somebody. He is. Relax. Relax, everyone. Relax. You'll get more violence in a second, all right? And then you have the main event. So I have Diego Lopez by steamrolling Brian Ortega. Then you have the main event, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka. Alex Pereira versus Jiri. I'm just going to go off of the first fight. Obviously, shout out to these guys for taking the fight on short notice, saving this whole card as they have before. But Alex, I mean, at light heavyweight, no one can stop me. I'm all the way up. It's the way I feel about Alex at light heavyweight. He seems invincible. Obviously, the way he fights, the way that Jiri fights. Anyone can get knocked out. That's why I love this fight. However, in Jiri's last performance, what did I see? I saw him beat Rakic going through the same adversity he went through with Alex. He didn't change anything. He took the calf kicks. He took the leg kicks. It compromised him. Alex is going to go back to that. And he hasn't changed. He hasn't changed. Alex has only gotten better. He's expanded his grappling. He keeps on working on his boxing, which, I mean, his boxing's always been his but he's a kickboxer, right? So he uses the kicks to set up his boxing. Doesn't mean his boxing's 100%. 100%. But he works on just the boxing aspect. He's been working on the grappling and all those kinds of things. He's a quick learner as far as the grappling goes. His jiu-jitsu's good. This guy doesn't have bad jiu-jitsu. Just the wrestling aspect, what happens when you get taken down. But we've seen him get up from Jan. We've seen him get up from Jiri. We've seen him get better. This guy's on his fifth title fight, and he's only been in the UFC for 3 years. I think you're going to get another knockout, maybe even quicker than the last time, by Alex. And then he's just going to keep showing his dominance. Whereas the other Alex fight was against Jamal Hill. And that's a first round. I mean, Jamal Hill, former champion at lightweight or light heavyweight, was geared to be like the next guy as far as champion at light heavyweight. And then Alex was like, no. I'm here. Daddy's home. And so now and for those that don't know, the coolest thing about this whole story is not the Alex versus the Israel, not the whole he was in the tire shop working or the whatever, or he was an alcoholic and da-da-da. Obviously, that's all fun and cool. His lineage is what makes this fucking awesome. You're talking about a guy whose coach is Glover Teixeira, who Glover Teixeira was the champion at light heavyweight, but also a big staple in light heavyweight. But who's Glover Teixeira's coach? Chuck Liddell, the first light heavyweight champion of the world. And now you get Alex I don't know if he was the first light heavyweight. Maybe I'm just gassing this up, but which I could look into, but you know what? Before I put my foot in my mouth. All right, UFC light heavyweight champion. Okay, never mind. Frank Shamrock was the first one. Sorry. Tito Ortiz. Then, okay. So yeah. The way it was like every card would be a new one. Then Tito Ortiz defeats Vanderlei for the Venkat title. Then Randy Couture defeats Chuck Liddell. Vitor defeats Randy Couture. Okay. So Chuck Liddell in 2005 defeats Couture from 2005 to 2007. He defended his title against Jeremy Horn, Couture, Sobral, and Ortiz, and then Quinton and then Rampage came in. So, not that he was the first, but he was a long reigning title champion defender, or light heavyweight title champion defender. So he comes from that lineage, and he exudes the sprawl and brawl. We're back to that era. And I think the cool martial arts lifestyle that Jiri lives is awesome. But then when it comes to technicality, like, you also have to be technical. And I think, yeah, he is wild. He does throw unorthodox things. But when you're against a guy as high level as Alex, you're going to just need to wrestle him. And Jiri's not that guy. So I think Alex Pereira by left hook, once again, like always. Shama. You know I'm going to be wearing the shirt too. I've got the shirt. I've got that. I've got the Alex Pereira shirt. I've got the Shama shirt. Biases or not, the man is one of the greatest. If he goes up and he fights for the heavyweight championship and he just somehow left hooks Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades, John Jones, if he just left hooks one of these guys and wins, he's the GOAT. I don't know if people understand. He's the GOAT. And if he defends the heavyweight champion, GOAT. He's GOAT. He's the GOAT. All within like 4 years. I mean, this guy fights anyone, anywhere, anytime. And because of that is now the light heavyweight champion of the world. Defending light heavyweight champion of the world. He defended the belt. He's not like a one and done kind of guy. Like the middleweight, he was kind of one and done. But, still. So, those are my picks. We'll go through the bottom to the top. Vinicius Oliveira. Ray Tsudia. Martin Boudet. Jillian Roberts. Peyton Talbot. Charles Jourdain. Andre Feely. Joe Pyfer. I'm not really picking any underdogs. Maybe Michael Venom Page. Myra Bueno Silva. Anthony Smith. Diego Lopez. And Alex Pereira. Those are my picks. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Remember, drop a like and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play is also where you can find it. Come train. Gym's opening up. July. All right. Come train with me. I have a lot of extensive experience. That's Jai Hilton Almeida, for those that don't know. For this small picture, if you could see, that's Jai Hilton, bro. Look at how big that dude is. How big Jai Hilton is. So yeah, come train. It'll be awesome. Other than that, I'll be back to break down the next numbered card. Maybe I'll move this to the office at the gym. But until then, everyone stay safe. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the fights. And peace.